You may ask yourself, why should I need a special towel when training in the gym? And even if, how can actually someone make money with that? That's what you're going to find out. My name is Siebeneicher and I studied technology and management here at the Technical University of Munich for the last 3.5 years. Besides the scientific knowledge, I also gained quite a lot of practical knowledge during a scholarship program here at the university, where we did projects with BMW and with startups. I also worked, besides my studies, for a company called Scout24, where I worked in the online marketing department, and I worked for an e-commerce business called Siebeneicher, where I gained knowledge in the field of business development. I also worked for the last 1.5 years for a startup where I learned something about venture financing. But that still doesn't answer the question, how on earth did I come up with an idea of a towel? Well, let's have a look. I wasn't always in a good shape like I am today. When I was 14, let's face it, I was fat. I was weighing heavy 90 kilos, and by that time I decided I need to change something. So I started doing sports, and somewhere down the road I joined a gym and I fell in love with the fitness sports. And there the towel comes in. In a gym, you generally have to train with a towel. That are the house rules, and that's where the problems start. Because I know it by myself that you have around 4 problems when you train with a towel in the gym. First of all, you normally just grab a towel at home and you doesn't really care about how it looks, but in the gym you notice it doesn't really match your outfit. And if you're in the gym and you go to the first machine, you notice, well, it doesn't really fit on the machine, so it doesn't cover all of the spaces of the machine, and you have to touch the surface of the machine. Thirdly, the towel slips often from the machine. That's what I found most annoying for myself, because if you go from machine to machine, you're kind of exhausted, you throw it over the machine and it just drops. And after you train and you stand up, it also drops because the towel moved around while you were training. And of course, hygiene can be a problem too, since after a while when you've trained, you don't know anymore which side of the towel was actually on the machine and which side is fine for cleaning your face. So that were my problems I had, so I went out and I started creeping at people in the gym to see if they actually have the same problems. I asked people, and what I found is quite interesting. 83% actually could name a problem themselves without me telling them the problems I have. They ranked them, and what I found is hygiene is the biggest problem for them, slipping comes second, the appearance is third, and the size is fourth. So my first hypothesis was true, people actually have problems with their towel in the gym. So I went back to my data and I thought, well, I'm going to budget gyms and I have that problem. Maybe those people have those problems too, because those people actually spend a lot of money for protein shakes, belts, gloves. So I thought it's a quite interesting target group, but I was wrong. Actually, people in premium gyms, it turned out, are the people who have those problems. Maybe I'm in the wrong gym. So what I found, the target group are people, male and female academics between 25 and 45 years old, who actually spend around 40 up to 120 euros per month for going to the gym. So my second hypothesis was wrong. People in premium gyms are actually the target group. Then I went to the product and I thought, well, that's quite easy. You just make a pretty looking towel, and for the size, well, you make it smaller, a bit longer, so that it better fits on the machines. The slipping problem you can solve quite easily. You just stitch a strap on the back of the product so you can pull it over the machines, and you also can, I thought, apply an anti-slip coating on the back so it doesn't move around when you are training on the machines. The hygiene problem, also quite easy. You just have 2 different colored sides, so you know which side is perfectly fine for cleaning your face and which side is the side you put on the machine. Also, the idea was to have an antibacterial cotton, so that way you kind of feel more comfortable and the towel doesn't start to smell. So I went to the manufacturers and my hypothesis was I can manufacture all those features I imagined. But the truth is, I contacted a lot of manufacturers and the feedback was I didn't find any manufacturer who could do the anti-slip coating. So that was the only feature which isn't possible to do. Therefore, my third hypothesis was falsified. It's not possible to do all the features, but at least most of the features are possible to do. Then I thought, well, there's one feature left I actually could test with customers before I have to do a professional prototype, which costs some money, to actually find out if people like the product. So I went out and tested if people prefer a cotton fabric or a microfiber fabric towel. My hypothesis was people actually prefer the cotton towel because I preferred it myself. So I thought, well, that should be the case with all the people. And it turned out it's true. Most people actually prefer the cotton towel since it feels like kind of better if you touch it after you trained a while, because when you train you touch a lot of metal surfaces and your skin gets kind of rough, and then it's disgusting to touch something as soft as microfiber. So my fourth hypothesis was right. People actually prefer a cotton feel fabric. But that still leaves the question open, is this a viable business? And I have to tell you, it is, because you can execute the idea on a drop shipping model. So that means you don't have to do anything of a supply chain yourself. Someone is manufacturing it, someone is packaging it, and someone is delivering it. The only thing you have to do is you have to have an online shop and you have to do marketing. And if you look at the macroeconomic level, it's also quite interesting. It's projected that the global apparel market is growing to 189 billion US dollars in 2020. And if you look closer to the German market, which is my home market, you can see it's a quite interesting market since from 2005 to 2013, the gym memberships were growing with a compound annual growth rate of 7%. And that means it's a quite resilient market, because if you look at the numbers in 2009, which was an economical downturn, you can see it's a really resilient market. Because even in downturns, the market is growing. I also calculated the market potential for the product itself, and I came up for the German market with 92.5 million euros. And I calculated that number by using the people who are going to premium gyms and reducing it by people who actually go against the house rules of the gym and don't use a towel, and reducing it further by people who use towel services supplied by the gym. So I talked to people and they actually told me they have towel service in their gym, but they cost up to 20 euros per month additionally to their normal membership fee. But what is most interesting, it's a high margin business. Since for a product which costs 50 euros, you have a contribution margin of around 68, so around 70%, which is quite high and even conservative, since I just calculated it for a production batch of 1,000 items. And also, it's imaginable to even charge more for the product, because experts told me for a premium and for a luxury product, it's even a low number, 50 euros. So you can go even higher and achieve more for the contribution margin. Lastly, there's a lot of upselling potential with the product as well. So it's easily imaginable that you go into the B2B business or even the renting business and supplying the gyms with your towel. Also, it's quite easily imaginable that you sell bundles, because people told me in the interviews that they actually use up to 3 towels when they train. They need one for the cardio training, one for showering, and one for the machines. So you can use it for getting to the economies of scale by selling bundles. And of course, you always can diversify. You can introduce new products. And what I found most interesting is to have your own washing powder, a sports washing powder. You can use a white label solution from an existing washing powder and just put on your label and sell it quite expensive under your name. It's also, again, a really high contribution margin business. To sum it up, I did customer development, I went out of the building, talked to customers, found out they have those problems I thought, and I talked to manufacturers and found out, well, the solution is technically feasible. It's also a quite interesting market, because the market is resilient to economical downturns and it's growing heavily. And it's a viable business at the end, because it's a high contribution margin business, and you also have the potential to have a lot of upselling products and to cross-sell. Thank you very much. Machen wir mal von vorne. That all those... komm, wir machen mit drin weiter. Oh, fuck, ey. Kann doch nicht sein. Läuft gar nicht. You just put your label on the washing powder. Fuck, ey. Nein, noch einmal. And it also is quite... Ich mache jetzt wohl. Problem with the... Also ein kleiner Hacker. Scheiß Washing Powder. Thank you very much. Oh, fuck, ich hab das Dank am Ende vergessen. Ich dachte, ich bin fertig.